man, this is about the worst client I've ever had. It also happened to be the largest listing I had ever taken at that time in my career. This goes back a few years. I was contacted by somebody through my Facebook page to come and take a listing appointment at their home in Lincoln Park. So I met with them, I presented my listing strategy, everything went well, we signed a listing agreement, and we were off and running. Right out the gate, I saw there were gonna be issues. It started with him contacting me all the time. I don't just mean a few times a day, I mean he was calling me constantly. I was getting calls on the hour, almost every hour, going all the way until 2, sometimes 3 in the morning, and he would be up again calling me by 5 a.m. the next day. It got to the point where I had to actually have a conversation and say, I can only work with you during these working hours, and I'm going to have to turn my cell phone off for the other hours. I couldn't do it anymore. It was getting to be insane. That should have been my first red flag, but I continued forward anyway thinking, okay, over communication isn't the end of the world. It's still a great listing. Let's get it live. We'll get this done. The next problem we had was with photos. I brought in my photographer, the same photographer that I've used to take many listings live successfully, to do a full package, drone shoot, video shoot, high-def photography. We were gonna capture every angle of this house so that it would show to the best of its abilities. Take our photos, wait a couple days, they come back. I looked through them and I was very proud at what we'd accomplished. The home looked beautiful. The owner did not agree with me. He was livid about the photos. Now, it's not the first seller in the world to be dissatisfied with photos, but this went above and beyond, to the point where he was asking me to get in touch with the photographer's leadership so that I could have them fired and never have them work in Chicagoland again. I mean, just way beyond what was needed in the situation. I offered to reshoot the home, I offered to come up with a different strategy, even introduce a new photographer if that's really the way he wanted to go. But ultimately, it seemed to me that he was just hyper-focused on having his vision come to fruition. So what I suggested is, maybe he should take the photographs if he has that specific thoughts. Well, as you can guess, that didn't land very well with him. But at this point, I already had a feeling this relationship wasn't gonna work with me. The dollar value was great, the home was fantastic, but the person associated with it was not. To the point where it was a toxic working relationship, and I felt I needed to exit. So I did. I canceled our listing agreement. I did not ask for the cost of the photographs back. I just ate the charge and moved on. And let me tell you, I'm so thankful that I did, because looking at that listing, it was on market for over 9 months. I think about my life and my sanctity and quality of life and having to deal with a client that was calling me hourly into the early mornings every single day for 9 months on a listing that wasn't doing particularly well. And the stress that comes with even thinking about being in that situation is incredible. So I feel like I ultimately dodged a bullet, and it was a great reminder for me that you don't have to say yes to every opportunity. When you're growing a business in particular, you feel inclined to just say yes and to get involved and to get active. But there are certain things, there are certain engagements, there are certain clients that are going to be more of a drag on business than they are going to be a productivity boost. I think about this story all the time now because it's nice to know that you have the flexibility in business to say no to a client who isn't a good fit for you. And that's a very powerful tool for most entrepreneurs to use in their tool belt.